Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So big news now is coming out with regards to Paul Pogba. Now looking likely this season that Paul Pogba is going to be staying at Manchester United after recent reports have suggested out saying that Paul Pogba has told Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that he believes he's still part of his current project, and I think he's fully committed to Manchester United as Paul Pogba, as he has currently mentioned. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has considered Paul Pogba as a serious candidate for the captaincy when Ashley Young, of course, is absent. But I was, actually reading Sky Sports yesterday, and they basically said that Juventus have not abandoned trying to sign Paul Pogba, because it still says Juventus remain interested in Paul Pogba. But I do believe now Paul Pogba is fully committed to Manchester United. Obviously, even though despite the fact in June Paul Pogba admitted that he did want to leave Manchester United, and he even publicly admitted that he wants to leave Manchester United, and he did say he was seeking for a new challenge. And obviously Solskjaer had spoken a lot about Paul Pogba. He gave his overarching view on Paul Pogba, especially throughout the course of pre-season, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deep down knows how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. Obviously Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, he came out I think before pre-season, and he did say that Paul Pogba is in the process of leaving the football club. But we do know for the entirety of the summer, obviously we do know Paul Pogba has been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid, and of course his first choice preference has been Real Madrid, and his likely destination has been Real Madrid. But reports have emerged out saying that there's been talks about him making a return back to Turin and that. Obviously don't forget Paul Pogba did have 4 good years in Turin, but hasn't really replicated this form since he did make the return to Manchester United back in 2016, because for the majority of his 3 years, since his return back in 2016, he has been very inconsistent as Paul Pogba. But I thought he did really well throughout pre-season. I thought Paul Pogba did really well in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. And I do believe when Paul Pogba's at his best, and don't get me wrong, we have seen him at his best at Manchester United. He is one of the best midfielders in the world, and when he's at his best, he's like 2 players in one. Is Pogba. But like I said, with us obviously not getting a midfielder in throughout the course of the summer transfer window, I think it's very imperative that we keep Paul Pogba. But I did say anyway, for the majority of the summer, or should I say the entirety of the summer, our current based on the extortionate amount we've put on Paul Pogba, I did say that was the stumbling block of him, leaving Manchester United. Obviously, Real Madrid have struggled to meet our valuation. Obviously, Juventus, they've done good business as well this summer, don't forget. So obviously, I did say to have any chance of Juventus getting him, I said Juventus would have to offload 1 or 2 of their essential players to fund the move for Paul Pogba, because I just don't think they'd be able to afford Paul Pogba outright. Obviously, recent reports have indicated out saying that we want around £180 million. So obviously we're basically demanding more than double than what we initially paid for Paul Pogba back in 2016, because obviously we paid £89 million for him, and obviously he's our most expensive signing. You've obviously got Real Madrid, they've spent £300 million on 5 players this summer, or is it over £300 million? And don't forget, we can still negotiate the sale of players until the 2nd of September. But it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, to actually build a side around Paul Pogba. Obviously, Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year. Obviously, he's on around 290 grand a week. I think he actually got his wages cut by 25%, based on our failure, to qualify for the Champions League, this season, and all failed to qualify for the Champions League. But obviously, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, for the entirety of the summer has been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new club and all that. But it's looking like Paul Pogba is going to be staying at Manchester United for this season. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, give his overarching view, and he praised Paul Pogba's attitude, and that Solskjaer said he's been training well. Obviously, didn't participate in the last game of pre-season because I think he's had some kind of back injury. Hopefully, Paul Pogba can be in contention today against Chelsea and that. But he's still 26 years of age. He's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. And Paul Pogba's basically in his prime and that. But I think now there's been a change of scenery. Now Paul Pogba does want to remain at the football club and that. And this is very good news indeed. And but it has been Mainly Real Madrid, of course, that have been in for Paul Pogba. it's Real Madrid that I've been in there for Paul Pogba. But like I said, he come back out in June, saying that Paul Pogba, wanted to leave the football club. But, he was subject to a lot of transfer speculation last year, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, there was talks about him going to Juventus last year. There was talks about him, going to Barcelona, back in the January transfer window. Because obviously, Paul Pogba, had a really bad relationship with Jose Mourinho. And I think Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, when Jose Mourinho, of course, left the football club. And, since Paul Pogba's rejoined back in 2016. He's won the Europa League and the League Cup with us. That came in his second season with Manchester United. And obviously, I think last season, though, his stats were very impressive. He scored 16 goals, provided 11 assists in 47 games in all competitions. So that's very, very impressive. I think he scored around 31 goals in 135 games in all competitions, since he rejoined back in 2016 and that. But I think, Paul Pogba is a very, very imperative player in that. And obviously, with us not landing a midfielder, it's obviously very essential that we keep him. And I just got I've got concerns of element that I've got concerns of element in our midfield anywhere, because obviously if Paul Pogba gets injured this season, we haven't really got a backup. And it is a shame that we didn't get a midfielder throughout the course of the summer transfer window. Obviously Solskjaer mentioned that he was delighted with the summer transfer business. We got 3 good players in. We spent £148 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire, which is very, very good. So I'm very, delighted that we got that experienced centre half in that we needed. I think Harry Maguire is going to go alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline fantastically well. Harry Maguire is the best option we've got now in that central defence area. With Victor Lindelof, these question marks, can he keep the consistency up? Because he was good in his second season with Victor Lindelof. With Wan-Bissaka, we've got that experienced right back in as well. We've got that right back in as well that we wanted, which is very, very good indeed. And with Wan-Bissaka, obviously he's going to be our first choice right back this season. So obviously, Ash Young's going to be there as a backup. Obviously, we've got Diego Dalot as well, who's one of our right backs. Obviously, we've got Luke Shaw at left back and that. But without Wan-Bissaka, I think anyway, he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. And with Daniel James, my overarching view on him, I think he did well throughout pre-season, but I think he's still a prospect and he currently needs time to develop, does Daniel James. So we did get 3 good players on the board. Obviously, Solskjaer did say, he isn't infuriated, with our failure, to sign 2 top priority targets and that. But, the good news is, if in regards to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that he has been assured, he will not be fired this season, regardless what happens this season. As long as we're not in relegation or we're not, in mid-table row, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, will be safe. Because quite frankly, the board didn't back him enough throughout the course of the summer transfer window, even though the board did assure that there was, of course, going to be backing him. But like I said, players would have had reservations about joining Manchester United because obviously we're not in a Champions League football, so players like Dybala, Mandzukic, maybe Christian Eriksen, that they may have had reservations about joining the football club because obviously we're not in a Champions League football and all that. But like I said, I think the board have realised that they haven't backed him enough, so I think the board, I'm not going to go too harsh on him if it does go wrong this season, and I think the board have basically granted Solskjaer that he will be back to the next couple of transfer wins and that. But I did say it was going to be extremely difficult for us, to address all the problematic areas in one window. Of course, it has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager, but it's a shame that we didn't get at least one midfielder in. Now, obviously, for the entirety of the summer as well, was in search for a right winner. But we've got 3 good players on the board. Analysing our squad at the moment as it stands, I think it's good enough for a top 4 finish, and I think this season our expectations, we'll be able to finish in that top 4 this season. That will be our expectations. Maybe win some silverware. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations, and I think he will. To be quite honest with you, I did initially say in the next couple of seasons our aspirations, we'll be going for that top 4. But I'm very, very sceptical at the moment of Manchester United winning the league. I don't think that's going to happen. But like I said, I'm exceedingly excited, what the young players can produce and deliver, this season. That because I think, the young players will get their chance, the fringe players and the experienced players. So more or less everybody, will get the chance. Just like the majority of the players, got the chance throughout pre-season. That, but I think, the young players, were fruition, throughout pre-season. I think they're going to be a fruition this season. Especially Mason Greenwood, because I think Mason Greenwood obviously he's going to get more chances this season now, which is very, very good. Especially now, obviously, Romelu Lukaku has left. Mason Greenwood did well throughout pre-season. He's only 17 years of age and that. So it's going to be interesting to see, how he participates this season, Mason Greenwood and that. Obviously, Chong, he's upcoming as well. I think, he's going to get his opportunities this season. But, as I'm watching, the games, throughout pre-season, I can see the vast improvements in Manchester United already. I think we look much better in that attacking third of the pitch, because we have now got that pace in that attacking third of the pitch, and that's something lacked last season, was that pace. This is why last season wasn't scoring enough goals. This is why I wasn't ruthless enough in front of a goal. But in our attacking line, you've got Daniel James with good pace. You can put him on the left, you can put him on the right. Supposed to be more effective from the left, though. You've got Rashford with good pace. You've got Martial with good pace, and don't get me wrong, we need to see improvements in their games this season. Rashford's got to improve this season, Martial's got to improve this season. They did really, really well throughout pre-season, did Rashford and Martial. Obviously it's good news that Anthony Martial has been given that number 9 shirt. So I do believe Martial, will be playing more centrally this season, because he seems to be more effective from that central position, as we saw throughout pre-season. But yeah, he has been given that number 9 shirt. And Martial, he was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, but done well throughout pre-season. That we have seen glimpses of how good he can be, Anthony Martial. I don't think he's got quite to that level as yet. Obviously, he's been at the club now over 4 years. Obviously, the club paid £36 million for him from Monaco, potentially rising up to £57 million, based on goals and achievements and that. And he was fantastic in his first season with Martial. He scored 17 goals in his debut season and that. Scored on his debut against Liverpool. Martial signed a 5-year deal back in the January transfer window. Obviously, there were a couple of rumours of him leaving the football club earlier on in the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. There's obviously a lot of talks about him leaving last summer under the Jose Mourinho era. But I did say, he's still a long-term solution for Manchester United, and he's still what, 23 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of development in him. Rashford, he's been a United player since the age of 7, obviously progressing them up the ranks fantastically well. I think he's been absolutely a fruition. I think I said as soon as he broke into the first team, I think he became a fruition. The Marcus Rashford and all that. Obviously, there's improvements needed in his game, and that he was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season. But I think because he obviously sustained quite a few injuries, did Rashford, so that may have taken its toll on him. But it's still only 21 years of age is Rashford. He can play centrally. He can also play out wide. Supposed to be a more effective centrally though. So I do believe we'll look much better now in that attacking line. My overarching view on the likes of McTominay, Fred and Pereira, I do believe they'll get given their chances this season. Hopefully, they can improve this season. With McTominay, Fred and Pereira, though, I'm still very sceptical about them. I still don't know if they are the long-term solutions for Manchester United. I don't know if they've got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United, if you get what I mean. I thought McTominay was very impressive throughout pre-season. I thought he held his line well. Fred was quite impressive. With Fred, I've got element of concerns about him. Obviously, Fred hasn't performed to the same standard level, as he did do, when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk. Obviously, he did really, really well, when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk. I should say he was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk, but hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United. He actually did well towards the back end of last season. He did well throughout pre-season. To be fair to Fred, under the Jose Mourinho era, of course, he never got really given the chance, but I think he deserves the chances this season. I think Pereira, deserves chances this season. But you do know I've got concerns about our midfield. Nemanja Matic, I thought he was the only real disappointing player, throughout pre-season, because Matic is too slow, he's too inconsistent, not really good in the air, not getting younger, of course, he's aging up, he's Nemanja Matic. So yeah, I've got really, really strong concerns about our midfield. Obviously, Alex Tuanzebe, I think, we're, as far as I'm aware, we're all on keeping him at the football club. I think following, the serious knee injury that Eric Bailly had sustained. Obviously, Eric Bailly is out until Christmas with serious knee injury and that. And I didn't just say Eric Bailly's Manchester United career has been mainly affected with bad injuries he has sustained. He's got great potential and he's really, really good when he's fully fit. But I've got reservations about him because he's injury prone. With his fallout under manager as well, that's taken its toll on him. He's been at the club now over 3 years. His Eric Bailly, but I think we're considering keeping Alex Tuanzebe for now. Obviously, following Eric Bailly's series injury and that. But quite a few people said maybe we should orchestrate on, loaning some of the young players out. Obviously, because it may be beneficial for their future, getting them a bit more experience. But I do believe this season, the likes of Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood, and Chon are going to be a big part of the squad. So hopefully, they can impress. My viewpoints on Alexis Sanchez. Obviously, recent reports have been coming out about him, early on this week, saying that, Roma have actually, been in talks with Manchester United over the prospect of taking Alexis Sanchez out on a long season loan. Well, obviously, for the majority of the summer, we've tried offloading Alexis Sanchez, because I did initially say he is one of the problematic players at the football club. Obviously, he's the highest paid player at the club. He's the highest paid player at the Premier League. Obviously, Sanchez on around 400 grand a week, is it? Potentially rise up to 500 grand a week, based on the image rights and the bonuses. But we tried to get rid of him throughout the course of the summer, but we found it very difficult, based on his substantial wages and all that, because there won't be many teams, if any, that can afford to pay Sanchez's current wages off. But he recently said anyway that Roma have been in talks of getting him on loan. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, did admit, that Sanchez is still part of his first team plans this season. Now we've got that fluidity in that attacking line. Sanchez, may improve this season and all that. He definitely, will get given his chance. I probably believe he'll end up, remaining at Manchester United for this season. At least he didn't actually say if this, loan was to go through. Probably, we'd have to pay, the majority of his substantial wages off anywhere, and that. Obviously, don't forget Sanchez, was played in Italy, when he was younger. Played in Italy, when he was younger, the likes of Underneath and all that. And Sanchez was a really, really good player, when he was at Arsenal. He had 4 good years of Arsenal. He exceeded expectations. He even played under Pep Guardiola's guidance when he was younger at Barcelona. But he hasn't replicated any of this at Manchester United. So to be fair, he has been a huge disappointment in that. He's sustained quite a few injuries as well. Don't forget, Sanchez didn't play throughout pre-season because obviously. I think he sustained an injury, whilst he was on Copa America duty with Chile. So I think he's been out for the last 5 or 6 weeks. But if he remains at the football club, I do believe he will get his chances this season. Will Sanchez? Obviously, I think there's more players that do need to be sold by the football club anyway, because these problematic players here. Obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, 4 players have departed the football club. Obviously, we do know that Antonio Valencia left at the end of last season. Obviously, he served 10 years there with Manchester United. He was a really long-serving player at the club. Obviously, we know De Herrera left on a free transfer. Obviously, we do know that Marian Fellaini, of course, left. Obviously, we do know it confirmed early on this week, of course, that Romelu Lukaku, of course, has left the football club. He has now gone to Inter Milan. And obviously, in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference, building up to the Chelsea game today, he gave his overarching view on, Lukaku, leaving Manchester United and all that. And, he's hoped Lukaku for the best for the future and that, and he's basically said it was time for Romelu Lukaku to go. He believes it's a good deal, the Solskjaer, and it is a good deal because we've generated a substantial amount for his current departure and that. So basically, what we paid for him, we basically recouped back, what we paid for Romelu Lukaku, from Everton a couple of years ago and that. Obviously, Inter Milan they paid around, I think, was it 74 million, with add-ons included. He has signed a 5-year deal with Inter Milan and that. But yeah, I think we've done a really good business there, and I think now the club will obviously keep that money in his back pocket until January and that. Some people still say maybe we need a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Maybe we should save the money now and look on getting a midfielder in the January window, because I do believe the players that that we was in for the the entirety of the summer, I probably believe we will revive our interest in them back in January. So I think we'll go back for Bruno Fernandes in January. We may go back for Christian Eriksen in January. That's if he doesn't leave. We may, there's been talks about Dani Olmo from Dynamo Zagreb going on. Obviously, we was on a tentative link to him throughout the course of the window. Wasn't one of our main priority targets, but we was in there for him slightly. Dani Olmo from Dynamo Zagreb can play as an attacking midfielder. Can also play as a winner. Obviously, throughout the course of the window as well, we was in for Dybala. We could revive our interest in him. We was in obviously for Mandzukic on deadline day. But as you all know, still further more investment is needed in the Manchester United squad. But our Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preference, was to get our transfer business completed by the time we initially went out on pre-season, but obviously that didn't currently happen. But like I said, £148 million has been spent under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer, and like I said, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club over the years. And in the last 6 years, I worked it out, it's been around £968 million that's been spent the football club. So that's just under £1 billion that has currently been spent. Obviously, including what we spent this summer under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, it's £968 million in all the managerial areas and all. So that is a hell of a lot of money. Obviously, if you want to put into account of what we spent under Alex Ferguson, obviously it's way over £1 billion, because I do believe we spent like £700 million under the Alex Ferguson era and that. But obviously I hope it works out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I really do, because I love him a lot. He knows the traditions of the club. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years and that. He managed the Manchester United reserve team, did Solskjaer, and he watched some of this team at this day and age, of course, grow and develop. And like I said, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. We've already sacked 3 managers, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. Didn't work out under David Moyes. I think we spent just under £67 million on David Moyes. Obviously under Van Gaal, it didn't work out under him, because I had the same sort of level of hatred for Van Gaal, and I did have David Moyes, to be quite honest with you. But under Van Gaal, we spent a substantial amount under, the Van Gaal era. I think we must have spent over £200 million under him. We did win the FA Cup under the Van Gaal era, but, we brought players like Falcao in, Di Maria in. I thought it may have been a mistake for Manchester United, getting rid of Di Maria, because, I thought he had a good start under Louis Van Gaal era, did Di Maria. Obviously, he's actually, in that list of one of our most expensive signings, because obviously, we paid just under £60 million for Di Maria, and we do know that he's currently not here now. He bought Martial, and Martial's still here now. Van Gaal bought the likes of Herrera in. Herrera obviously has now left the club. Obviously, I thought, it was a good buy, bringing Luke Shaw in under Louis Van Gaal, because I think Luke Shaw, has, done really well. Luke Shaw I think he won the double player of the season last season, reflecting on his impressive performances. Did Luke Shaw. So yeah, Van Gaal, brought quite a few players in. Falcao, Memphis Depay. Memphis Depay didn't really work out, for Memphis Depay. He endured very difficult time at Manchester United. Did Depay. I thought I didn't bring Daley Blind in as well. Louis Van Gaal. So he brought quite a few players in, and then obviously under Jose Mourinho, we spent just under £400 million under him. I think we recommended 11 players in under the Jose Mourinho era. But obviously, the couple of main factors is why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho is because obviously, he had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the players. Even though, Mourinho did win 2 trophies in his first season with the football club, and even though Mourinho's got that proven pedigree, he's a winner, it just basically, didn't work out under him, because under Mourinho, it was part of the bus football, he was playing too defensive all the time and that, and, under Mourinho, there was no, sort of transfer strategy, there was no winning philosophy or all like that. So this is why it didn't, work out under him. And obviously, the board weren't backing the sign like wanting to recommending to the football club last summer, Jose Mourinho and that. But like I said, at least under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there was a transfer strategy, wasn't there? Because he said at the end of last season that he worked out his transfer strategy. He wanted to recommend a number of young players to come in, that could grow, develop, and emulate and that into superstars. But like I keep saying, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. But analysing it, the majority of his squad is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There's only 3 players that of course he has recommended in to the football club and all that. But my opinions are, I think Harry Maguire is going to do really well. He's going to get, obviously, given his Manchester United debut today against Chelsea. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre backs this season are obviously going to be Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, of course. So obviously, it's going to be hard for the likes of Smalling and Jones, obviously, to get there in the mix. I think Smalling and Jones now anyway are 2 inconsistent players for the football club. Smalling's been here 9 years. Jones has been here 8 years. And, it was bad business for Manchester United, giving them 2 new long-term contracts last season. But I think, the 2 inconsistent now, Smalling and Jones. But they're going to find it very difficult. But I think now with Harry Maguire coming in anywhere, I think we are going to consider, offloading 1 central defender at least. Obviously, I think definitely Rojo needs to go. I think Darmian needs to go, because they're 2 problematic players the football club. With Darmian, since his arrival, he's also another player that Van Gaal brought in. Since Darmian's arrival,
arrival, from Torino, back in 2015. I think that he's been very inconsistent, but let's be honest, Darmy, hasn't really been given the opportunity as a Manchester United player. He has sustained quite a few injuries as well, so I think we need to get rid of him. That will be beneficial for the club. I think we need to get rid of Marcus Rojo. Rojo's made about 72 or 73 appearances for the club in the Premier League, since his arrival back in 2014, was it, from Sporting Lisbon and that. But he's been widely inconsistent as Marcus Rojo. I think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected anyway with the amount of injuries sustained, because he has sustained, quite a few injuries as Marcus Rojo. How old is he now? Is he 29 years of age? So plus he's aging up. I think he's just got 2 years, or is it under 2 years left on his contract. Obviously, there's reports that emerged out. I think it was on deadline day, saying that Everton, were in for Marcus Rojo. Obviously, we put around a £25 million valuation on him, but obviously now anywhere Everton can't get him, so we could still, he could still leave the club, because obviously, he could go to a European club. But I think we need to get rid of Marcus Rojo, because he's one of the problematic players at the football club. Obviously, I think we could generate maybe around 30 or 35 million pounds for the departures of them, so that'll help us obviously generate more funds, for two problematic players that don't even need to be at the football club now. And I think Smalling Jones definitely no need to go. Eric Bay, I think maybe he does need to go, reflecting on, despite, obviously because he's injury prone and that. The good news is I'm happy, that with the club are keeping David De Gea. Obviously, as you all know, he's agreed a 6-year contract with Manchester United, which is very, very good. Obviously, he's going to be on around 375 grand a week and that, and very, very delighted that David De Gea is going to be staying. Obviously, in the majority of his 8 years anyway, he's been very, very consistent. He's regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. I think he was inconsistent in the last 3 months of last season, but apart from that, I think David De Gea has been very, very good indeed. So I'm very, very happy that he's currently staying at Manchester United and that. But like I said, we have got players on big contracts now, and that's another thing why I'm glad we offloaded Lukaku, because we generated a substantial amount for his departure. It also freed up our wage bill, because Lukaku was on over 200 grand a week at Manchester United. He still initially had 3 years left on his contract, before he currently left. We've got Sanchez, who's on £500,000 a week. You've got Paul Pogba, he's on a big amount of money. He's on 290 grand a week. You've got Rashford, that's on 200 grand a week now, potentially rising up to 300 grand a week, based on the bonuses and all that. You've got De Gea now, that's going to be on 375 grand a week. So we have got players on big contracts, but like I said, with a big massive club, we've got massive revenues and that, and we can currently afford to do this. We can definitely afford to do this and that, but like I said, Manchester United is still a big, massive club and that, and with a big, massive club, obviously, we always will be a big, massive club. With the most successful team in England, historically, 13 Premier League, 20 all in all. But don't forget what we did back in 2007, 2008, 2009. Won 3 back-to-back titles, of course, which is an absolutely fantastic achievement and that. And I know we've been inconsistent there for the last 5 or 6 years, but I said the main factor reason why we've been inconsistent, because obviously we're being mismanaged, and this is the main factor reason, of course, why we have been achieving. But I think Solskjaer's the right man to get Manchester United back to where they belong. I think we're going to have a better season this season. Last season was a huge disappointment. We failed to qualify for the Champions League. We finished 6th. I think we must have finished around 32 points behind Manchester City in that. But like I said, we've got big ambitions for the future, and obviously them ambitions is to get us back, to winning silverware and that. Obviously this is something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring back to the club, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring that winning mentality back to Manchester United and all that. He wants to bring that winning mentality, back to the football club. But this season we won't win the league, but I think our expectations will be to finish in that top 4 and that. But I did say, I give you my predictions who I think is going to win the league this season. I think it's going to be either between Manchester City and Liverpool, just like it was last season. City have won back-to-back titles. They're going for their 3rd title in a row. Obviously I think City finished on 98 points last season. I think City won it by, was it a point or 2 last season? Obviously, season before, I think City, reached 100 points. Obviously, that season, City, walked to the league. That season we actually finished 2nd, and City, I think, won the league by around 19 points that season. But yeah, City are very, very dominant now. And, the strides ahead of us at the moment, and like I said, it's very imperative that we catch up over like Manchester City and Liverpool. But like I did say, City have invested well in their squad over the years under Pep Guardiola. Liverpool, their invested well in the last couple of windows. I know they didn't do any transfer activity this summer, but they have still got a pretty decent squad and that Liverpool, and obviously Liverpool and Man City have won their first games. Liverpool beat Norwich 4-1. City won comfortably away at West Ham 5-0. I probably fancy City for the league this season, to be quite honest. Obviously City have got the experience. Liverpool haven't got the experience yet, because Liverpool have actually never won the Premier League since it got founded back in since it got founded back in 1992, was it, or was it 93? The Premier League got named, and that they've won 18 all first divisions of Liverpool, but they've actually never won the Premier League. They haven't actually won it all in all for, is it, around 30 years now, Liverpool. But obviously they're the best team in Europe. Obviously Liverpool have won the Champions League 6 times. They won it last season and all that. But I'd say they're currently better than us at the moment, to be quite honest with you. But like I said, I hope Manchester United can win today. Obviously, it's the opening day of the Premier League season. against Chelsea. Chelsea have got a few problems of their own. Don't forget they've got a transfer ban, so they can't strengthen their squad up until next summer. Obviously, they've lost Eden Hazard throughout the course of the summer, so obviously they couldn't find an adequate replacement for him. And it's going to be interesting to see. Just as I'm obviously a Man United fan. It's just going to be interesting to see how Frank Lampard, does at Chelsea and all that. Because obviously, don't forget, he knows the traditions of Chelsea, he knows the culture of Chelsea Football Club, just like Solskjaer knows Manchester United inside out. And obviously, Frank Lampard, like I said, he was a great player for Chelsea. He was a long-serving player for Chelsea because he spent 13 years there with Chelsea. He's their record-leading goal scorer. With 211 goals, and that is Frank Lampard. But I don't know if he'll succeed as a manager. Solskjaer's obviously got more experience as a manager, obviously, than Frank Lampard, because obviously Frank Lampard only got into management last season with Derby. Obviously, got Derby out to the playoff final and that. But obviously, when the saga was going on, when Maurizio Sarri was at Chelsea, I think the majority of Chelsea fans wanted to recommend, Frank Lampard in as their manager and that. Obviously, it was Maurizio Sarri only had a short tenure with Chelsea. He only spent one season and that with Chelsea and that. And Chelsea won the Europa League last season, so obviously they're in the Champions League this season. Obviously, they got to the Carabao Cup final last season and all that. But I just don't think Chelsea we're happy with Maurizio Sarri. Maurizio Sarri is now obviously returned back to Italy. He's now managed Juventus and that. He's managing Juventus, sorry. But with Frank Lampard, I don't know if he'll succeed at Chelsea. Obviously, Chelsea obviously will hope for a better season this season and that. They've got a few injuries as well. They've got Callum Hudson-Odoi out. They've got Rudiger out. I think they've also got Ruben Loftus-Cheek out and that. But I think we usually do well against Chelsea at Old Trafford. I know it was 1-1 last season. But we usually do well against them at home. But analysing our record against Chelsea, it's very, very poor. Especially at Stamford Bridge. We beat them in the FA Cup last season at Stamford Bridge, and that was the first time we won at Stamford Bridge since 2012. So we've actually got a bad record against Chelsea. And something else we've got to wait there a minute. Something else we have to improve on this season is our record against the top 6 sides, because it wasn't very, very good last season and that. But I think in the game today, it's 4:30 kick-off. Probably Greenwood, will get given the chance. He'll probably start Greenwood, to be quite honest. Maybe Juan Mata may not start, but could participate. Obviously, he's reuniting with Frank Lampard. Don't forget his Mata, because during Juan Mata's 2.5 years at Chelsea before he came to Manchester United, obviously he played alongside Frank Lampard at Chelsea. Don't kill me and forget. But like I said, we've got a history of spending big on players. I've got a list of our most expensive players anywhere. I've got a list of them. Obviously, the most expensive one's Paul Pogba, we paid £89 million for. The second one is Lukaku for £75 million. Obviously, now he's gone now, but we still paid £75 million to him when we got him a couple of years ago. Obviously, Fred's one of our most expensive signings. We paid just under £50 million to him last summer. Wan-Bissaka, he's one of our most expensive signings because we paid £50 million for him. But I think he's going to succeed at Manchester United anywhere, so I think he's worth the £50 million that we paid for him. Obviously, Harry Maguire, he's one of our most expensive signings. Actually, our second most expensive signing is Harry Maguire. Obviously, we paid £80 million to him. Obviously, he's the most expensive defender in the world. Obviously, the fee we paid for him exceeded the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk, back in January 2018. But with Harry Maguire, he's highly experienced. He shows that ability to play out from the back. He's also very, very good in the air, well Premier League proven as well. And I think he's regarded as one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. I won't put him in Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level, or probably isn't as good as Laporte, but I still think he's probably in the top 3 or top 4. Definitely, is Harry Maguire. Obviously, very, very good for England, represents his country fantastically well. But he's obviously now my most expensive, he's our second most expensive sign. I said that Engel De Marie's in that list. He's one of our most expensive signings. So, like I said, we've got a history of spending a big on players. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't actually say, well, he's not intending on overspending on our transfer targets here this summer. And quite a few people said at the start of the summer, that we actually should be sensible of our recruitment. But like I said, in the last couple of windows, especially, our recruitment policy has actually been very, very poor indeed. But like I said, it's all Solskjaer said the transfer market's difficult. It is difficult because when so many players are going for one player, it's going to be hard, isn't it? Obviously, and when you're not in Champions League football, it's also going to be hard to attract players to elite level. We've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League. I think 3 times out of the 6 seasons, since Alex Ferguson's retirement and that. But we are still a really, really good team. I know we've been inconsistent the last 5 or 6 years and that, but I've actually put Manchester City, and I've praised Manchester City. You're getting Man City fans saying they haven't been praised enough. I've praised Manchester City now because they are a really, really good team, and I put them in front of a team that won the title back to back 3 times back in 07, 08 and 09, and a team of course that won the treble back in 1999. Obviously that's the club's one of the club's greatest achievements. Obviously City won the English domestic treble last season as well, so I give Manchester City praise for that. I give Liverpool praise last season for what they did against Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final. So I was on this channel, I do give my honest opinions. Even though I hate Liverpool, I obviously dislike Manchester City, but that's what a football channel is all about, giving you honesty, and I do give my honest opinions on it. But should be on today after the Manchester United-Chelsea game. I'm going to give you my current match reaction. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch the game because I haven't currently got Sky Sports now, because I do believe it's too expensive. But I will try and catch up, of what currently happens in the game. But the main part of this video, was to give you the news about Paul Pogba. He's fully committed to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's projects now. Reportedly, I think he's considered for the captaincy. Is Paul Pogba is considered for the captaincy? When of course Ash Young is absent. But Ash Young isn't really going to play this season. Probably will get given his chance, but obviously now Van Wan-Bissaka who's in, he's going to be our preference, obviously, over Ashley Young and that. But yeah, Paul Pogba will get a chance to become the captain and that. But I think now Paul Pogba has confirmed he's going to be staying at Manchester United and all that. Which is very, very good indeed. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deep down knows anyway how much imperative player he is. But yeah, it's very essential that we keep Paul Pogba with the football club this season. So anyway guys, drop your comments below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.